Hello, everyone. It's Charity Smith. I am Miss Mogul, and you are in for a treat today with Mogul Talk. I have a wonderful guest for you today. And listen, before we get her into the studio, make sure that you go to our YouTube channel as well as our Facebook channel and subscribe to the show. Connect with us on Facebook at Master Your Morning with Miss Mogul, and you can go to our YouTube channel at Mogul Live TV. Now, without further ado, I want to hurry up and get to our guest. So get your laptop, get your latte ready. We're ready to go live guest in just a minute.
Welcome to MOGUL Talk, where wealth and lifestyle. Welcome to MOGUL Talk, where wealth and Welcome to MOGUL Talk, where wealth and lifestyle converge. We are Mindset Media, dealing with business. Welcome to MOGUL Talk, where wealth and lifestyle converge. We are Mindset Media, dealing with business, social relevance, abundance, lifestyle, and spirituality. This is your time. This is your moment. And this is your host, Ms. Mogul, Charity Smith.
Okay.
Welcome to MOGUL Talk, where wealth and lifestyle converge. We are Mindset Media, dealing with business, social relevance, abundance, lifestyle, and spirituality. This is your time. This is your moment. And this is your host, Ms. Mogul, Charity Smith.
Hello, everyone. Thank you again for tuning in, literally in America and around the world. This is Charity Smith. I'm Ms. Mogul. I have the pleasure of having in the studio today the one and the only Miss Giselle Shapiro. Now, let me tell you a little bit about this guest. She is the CEO of Black Women Speak, the movement, the Anthology, and now Black Women Speak TV. She is also the CEO of CDS Productions. Now, she has a fantastic story, and I've really been excited to have this conversation with her about the power of Black female voices today and what inspired her to curate this anthology. So without further ado, welcome to the studio, Miss Giselle Shapiro. Hello, welcome to Mogul Talk.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Miss Mogul. And I am honored, and it's with pleasure to be part of this series, to share my vision, to be connected with you because you're an incredible woman, sister. I love you, Miss Mogul, because you're here to make change in the world, which is what I'm all about.
Absolutely. Wow. And look, I couldn't have paid you for a better compliment. Well, thank you for that. I certainly appreciate it because that is absolutely the goal of the show and this platform. You have been extremely busy curating stories and narratives really bringing to the forefront Black female powerful voices. Can you tell us a little bit about what inspired you, first of all, to curate this anthology? Why an anthology and why now? Why this one?
In our history as Black people, it's our time. It's our rise and shine moment. Because our ancestors have experienced a great deal, and it's time for significant and impactful change. And it's time for that to happen. Directly after George Floyd's death, I had many sleepless nights, and I knew there was something that was brewing inside of me, but I hadn't quite figured it out. All I realized was that I was hurting, and I knew I wasn't the only one. I knew people all over the world were suffering in some form because we witnessed a man being killed right before our eyes. And that hurt. It hurt deeply because we've seen enough of that. We continue to see that. So now it is a time for change. And we're not going to let up until we see the change that we want and we deserve in this world. So I could have written a book just about me and talked about my life because I do believe that we're here to share our stories. However, at this time in our history, I knew that I wanted to be the catalyst for Black women, my sisters, to start rising up and start speaking your truth and telling the world about who you are to make change.
So the George Floyd, and it's I think very important that you bring that up. The George Floyd saga, it wasn't just a moment. It has really become an anthem that has fueled so many movements, right? And that has really become a watershed, I think, moment for America, not just for Black women, but for the American narrative and the American landscape. And it's funny, and I say that tongue in cheek, so much has happened prior to that, but it's almost as if America was taken by the collar and shaken and said, and now forced to kind of look at what has been happening many times, right, throughout the history. And it hasn't been in a vacuum. It's just that we didn't have the technology, I think, to put it front and center. What has been the experience for you in hearing the impact of George Floyd on the writers? Has this been a moment for them, or did they just kind of come to the table ready to share their narratives?
It has been a moment, and it continues at a resounding rate. We are realizing what we've let ride, let accept. No, we have to come out with, hey, I suffered a great deal during Jim Crow. You know, and here's what happened to me. Here's what I've had to accept. But I made it through. But I want y'all to know what I went through because it wasn't okay. And it's not going to be okay because we're going to make sure that it won't be okay coming up in our future. Wow. So women have said, this happened to me and it wasn't right. And I just held it in. Let me go on and speak on it. You know, once you do that, you're empowered. You know. You're on your way to something better. Because if you can get all that out of you, there's nothing else.
So I want to take a quick break and this commercial break. But when we come back, I want to talk to you about now the work, about the anthology and its importance in this moment in time. We've just heard testimony before Congress from some of the surviving members of the Tulsa massacre. 100-year-old survivor saying, yes, we were affluent. We were business owners. We had our own community. And I remember the trauma of that being taken away. I want to talk to you about where we are now in history and why this work is so important. So hold on just a minute. We'll be right
back. Are you ready to break out and break through? Break out and break through. Wait no longer. Charity Smith, known as Ms. Mogul, has created a breakthrough course and mastermind called the Mogul Method for multidimensional leaders wanting to harness their creative power and release their next big idea, transforming their performances, culture, and leadership. A highly sought-after media personality, business and transformative leader, Ms. Mogul enraptures her audience, taking them on a journey of personal and performance discovery. With laughter, candor, a biting wit, and over 20 years of business acumen and leadership. Go to www.youcancreateyourown.economy.com now to awaken the mogul in you.
Awaken the mogul in you.
And we are back. Before we went to our commercial, Giselle, I was talking to you about where we are in history now and why this particular work, your work, is so important. We've just heard testimony in Congress of surviving members of the Tulsa Massacre who were talking about from their childhood and firsthand perspectives about the wealth that we were able to create on Black Wall Street. Power, the grocery stores, political acumen, the business acumen that they enjoyed during that time. And here we are, all these years later, still needing work like yours. There's still this story to be told. How does that impact you as the creative force behind this particular work, that we still need to hear it and that you were impressed to develop it?
I'm sure you, as everyone else, is now aware that it's more than just Tulsa. As far as our Black communities are concerned, that we're prosperous. There is at least well over a dozen that I've seen that have been impacted in this way. And just by the fact that we've lived through such trauma and it's just been deeply ingrained within our souls have had enough. We're ready to just come out and free ourselves. Because at this moment in history, it's time. It's time. It's time. I cannot say that enough. It's time. Because if you're empowered and you feel a slight inkling that you got to come out with something, it's your time now. People are listening. That's the reason why I knew I was doing something that was God's work, because it's our time. And I won't let up, and I'll keep with the book series and do whatever I need to do and get all the help that I can get and support from my people, because I know I'm one that is being taught by my life experiences to do what I'm here to do.
That's good. That's good. Have the women who have been working with you, because they really do come from every walk of life. You have entrepreneurs, business owners, educators, stay-at-home moms. You really did go and get an eclectic group of women to share their stories. What is the impact now of this work on them? Has it been therapeutic in some way? Have they unearthed some unsaid understanding or experience that has impacted their life's trajectory? Because let's just be honest, when you start to talk about the collective experience of Black people in the diaspora, right? Not just here in the Americas, but literally around the world, there's so much that comes with that. It's not monolithic. It's not one experience, but all of us have this thread. If you look about, the experiences of color, or the impact of color on economics, or the impact of color on education or political power, have they now discovered some meaning in this that now changes their life's trajectory?
Absolutely. Speaking of women coming from all walks of life, women who only had a high school education, to women, a couple of sisters who have PhDs. This has all been a transformational experience for them, in that they were compelled to share a portion of their life that they felt they were empowered to share, but it was for the end result. Not only were they transformed, but their stories were meant to transform others and empower them. I'll give you one experience of the writer who only had a high school education. She's an award-winning director, award-winning, producer. She was told, "Oh, that's all you got is a high school education. What can you do? Look, you just have to read the book and read her story. She survived 2 sons being killed, being shot. Okay, she survived that. But what saved her life was writing. She's one of the best writers in the book. Mind you, she's living her soul's purpose. Because that story that she shares about having to get over the death of 2 sons, how did she survive that? She's a wonderful writer. And that's what was speaking from her soul, because it was healing. She needed to get through that to feel that my life can go on. But she couldn't see that until she started writing. And you can see that pain come through her writing, because it's excellent. It's outstanding. She's working on a couple of screenplays right now.
Wow. So that's what I love, though, about the work you do. It starts out, and I'm sure I heard the story of how you approach these women and ask them to be a part of not the book. I love what you say. It's become a movement now about giving voice to our narratives and owning them, not relinquishing that power or that responsibility to others to tell our stories, but us taking pen to paper, us getting the megaphone, us getting behind the camera, us being in front of the camera, and really owning now the story, the narratives, the history, the outcomes, the profitability, let's be honest. So all of that now comes with this project. What has been your experience in seeing this life's work come to fruition? You started with this idea, and you told us about how this was a burning in you after the George Floyd, I would call it murder. On the streets of America. This was a burning in you. How have you grown personally in this process? Because yes, you're mentoring these women and you're curating the writings and the narratives, but there's got to be something in you that's happening throughout this process. What is it like to see your work come from here and from the heart now into the market and seeing the response that you're getting, because it's phenomenal? What has that been like for you?
I'll repeat the word transformational. I wasn't ready to come out with my voice. I really wasn't. But it was something breathing through me that I knew I needed to just do what I was here to do, because I ended up hiring a few coaches because I knew I couldn't handle the pressure of what I was about to embark upon by myself. And we all know we need each other. So in knowing what I wanted to do, I sought out sisters who were able to help me do what I had to do. And they helped me, because I got through it all. I'd say within a matter of conception to the book publishing 6 months later, and me figuring out that, hey, I have a movement. This is a movement, because I'm not letting up. I'm going to do another book and another book, as many books as I can until my life is over.
Wow. But you go back to that. I love what you said about not letting whatever you thought was a challenge hinder you. You went and got a community of women who were excellent in that area and said, this is what I'm thinking. How do I walk through this? Teach me, coach me, and this is what I love about it. Pride didn't get in the way. Ego didn't get in the way. The work is too important. And if anybody's out there taking notes, maybe that's a note to write down. You have something that's bigger than you, that's a life's work. It's a calling, it's a movement, it's a mantra, it's an anthem, however you want to describe it. But when you find that you're overwhelmed, instead of succumbing to that, you go and get the support that's needed, because the work is more important than your discomfort.
Exactly. I suffered. I've been through a lot, but I was determined to get this done. And wow. I'm so happy that I knew what I needed.
That's good. That's good. What is the next narrative for us? So, and let me frame that, because we have gone through, let's give it a historical perspective. So you have voting rights for women, then you have civil rights, and then you have the women's movement, right? Where everybody's burning their bras. I didn't ever understand that. Then you have the Me Too movement, right? Where now women are coming out with these horrific stories about what it has been like for them to try to balance power with security. And what I mean by that is working in corporate America and behind some of the boardroom doors, a lot of heinous acts have happened against women, all in the name of climbing the corporate ladder. That's what we heard with Me Too. And then we now have the civil unrest of the summer of 2020. We could almost call it bloody 2020. You know, we could almost go there because it had that kind of impact. But here we are now, where after all of that history has come into play, we have now women like you who are the new sages and the new voices who are coming to the forefront. The story isn't new, but the conduits and the methodologies and how we get the messages out, that's becoming something new and something fresh. What is the next chapter or the next level now for Black women voices? Because we're out there, right? We're in front of the camera, behind the camera. We have the microphones. We're in politics. We're doing all of these things. So far to go. We've come a long way, but so far to go. In your mind, though, what's the next frontier for Black women speak?
There's power in numbers.
For sure.
The more women that realize what their soul's purpose is and will step up to make their voices heard, the better. Because now we need to be heard. We are being heard right now. We need more than Kamala Harris. She's actually made us proud and to feel like, yeah, we can be a part of this narrative because Black women speak means more than just Black women speak. Black women speak to be heard. We need to be heard. The more women that realize, the more stories that they can share, the more that we can be seen as the women that we are, not as the old ways of thinking about us. They need to see the realness of us.
That's what I'm after. What is that? Because once we're heard, once our narratives are out there, how do we coalesce all of that power, that energy? Because honestly, when people speak and when you share all that, that's a release of energy, but it has to go to something. There has to be an outcome. What is the next thing? What's the next outcome? What are we trying to achieve with our stories in your mind?
Freedom. We need true freedom. And when that happens, we will feel it. We will see it. But more of us need to be out there. When I said there's power in numbers, more of us need to be out there. Because more will shed light on the fact that, yeah, we're stepping up in our power and we deserve to be heard. We deserve to be treated the way we were meant to be treated. Now, I haven't figured it all out myself. And you can see me not really speaking with conviction right now because I'm thinking, oh my, she laid something really heavy on me. And the next book will be Black Women Speak, Let Freedom Ring. I woke up the other day and said, that's it. Because I know it's beyond just women speaking. Now we gonna make our voices heard so we can be free, because we deserve equal pay. We deserve a seat at the table. No, make your own table. No, you invite us to the table because you know we deserve to sit here, and we take over the table.
Listen, so Giselle, you bring up an interesting point, though, and I really want to talk about that in the last few minutes of the show. We have one more commercial we need to take. When I come back, though, I really want to dig deeper, though, into what does freedom really mean? Because we have to qualify it, we have to quantify it. What does that mean politically, socially, economically, in your mind after this? So let's take this quick commercial break. We'll be right back. Did you know there was a platform out there informing you on how to create your own economy? Hello, everyone. This is Charity Smith, Ms. Mogul, the founder of Mommies Creating Economies and Mogul U Real Estate Academy. I invite you now to go to mommiescreatingeconomies.com. Register for our upcoming classes. In classes, you will learn creative investing, creative financing, how to do tax liens, tax deeds, and so many other strategies. But you have to register today. Our space is limited for our face-to-face connection, but we have expanded operations to include an online modality for those working professionals who just can't make it to class. Go today to mommiescreatingeconomies.com. Register for classes today. It's time for you to create your own economy. And we are back. So before we went to break, Miss Giselle, I was talking to you about the next chapter. And I appreciate your vulnerability and your honesty in saying, I hadn't really thought about that right now, but that's kind of the next journey. We're pursuing that, and we're kind of discovering what does freedom really mean. When we talk about bringing Black women to the table and our voices being heard and our narratives being heard, my statement before the commercial was there has to be a destination to that, though, because once we speak, once our narratives are heard, once we share our story, it's not for the sake of just putting it out there in the universe or putting it in the media or wherever we put it. There has to be now a next chapter, or that has to give momentum to something. Once you write Black women speak, let freedom ring. How do you define freedom, though? What does that really mean for us?
An end to Black Lives Matter, where Black lives don't need to have to matter. I put that in the book. So it's like, oh, she's speaking to what I was saying in this book here. And yeah, you're spot on. So God bless you. Thank you so much. We're going to put an end to the need for Black Lives Matter.
Mm-hmm. That's good. So, and that's kind of the agreement to what I said about the Me Too movement. Mm-hmm. I'm looking for the day when Me Too means something different from the suffering or the mistreatment or the abuse for the sake of economic gain.
Yes.
When we no longer have to depreciate and devalue ourselves and endure heinous, disrespectful, ungodly things behind closed doors for the sake of being heard and being powerful and being at the table, etc., so forth. I'm looking for that day. We are not there yet. We still don't have a close to the economic gap. We still have wealth disparages. Mm-hmm. Women still are not earning the full dollar for a full day's work. And so many are still enduring some of those things that we heard about in the media for the sake of the ability to take care of themselves, take care of their families, etc. However, I believe that we're getting closer to achieving what we really want when it comes to economic and financial equality. Because as you said, more women are galvanizing now politically. You know, it's one thing to share your story. It's another thing when you lobby Congress to say this has to change, right?
Absolutely.
That's absolutely. So, go ahead.
And there's a sense of confidence when you know you matter. That's empowering, because I spent most of my early adult life collecting autobiographies and biographies of famous people. And when I started in the literary world, I helped an international marketing executive with his 2 best-selling books. I felt I was just there as support to help him. Okay. And then years later, I realized, hey, it's not helping me in any way that I did this for him. Come to think of it, my voice matters too. Yeah, my voice matters too.
Exactly. That part.
When it's all said and done, all of our voices matter. And the one thing that happened to me when I realized my voice mattered, it made me feel powerful. It made me feel, yes, my voice deserves to be heard. And that gave me a sense of confidence. Once you realize you deserve to be heard, you step a little bit. You step up a little bit. There's a little pep in your step now, you know? And once you start feeling that about yourself, you'll see the possibilities of all that's possible for you. And when we have more women in Congress, how'd they get there? Confidence. They knew what they wanted to do, but then they broke through the barriers and said, I'm here to do this. I'm going to go do it. So more women, when they start feeling that sense of confidence, more things are going to get done. More women going to start speaking up. Okay. We need that. We need more CEOs at what? The black CEO of Walgreens.
Mm-hmm.
We need more. She's the only one.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? The terminology? Not S&P 500, but she's 50. You know what I'm saying? The 50. She part of that. Let's get up there. Okay.
Gotcha. So I hear where you're going with that. So now that we have the anthology, Black Women Speak and Let Freedom Ring, what I'm hearing you say is now there is an energy and a momentum that needs to happen with that. And so it goes back to the statement that I kind of ended the first half of the segment with. There has to be an outcome. Once we're heard, once we share our stories, now it's time to galvanize all of that energy, that political power, that economic power, and make some real change and differences in the world. Now, we're at the end of the show, and I knew 30 minutes would go very quickly with you, as it always does when we talk. How can people work with you, though, and hear more about the work that you're doing with the anthology? Quickly, in 30 seconds, how do people contact you? How do people work with you and hear more about the movement of Black Women Speak?
My email, is it okay if I give that one out?
Please.
My email address, Giselle, Giselle, at literarylaunch.com. My website is literarylaunch.com. And my other website, blackwomenspeakthebook.com. So either one of those ways that you want to communicate with me, please feel free. I'd love to hear from you, and I'd love to see what I can do to help you along this journey. Sign you up for the next book, Black Women Speak, Let Freedom Ring, because I'd love to mentor you, to help you, to coach you, to get you to what you need to say. Because we're here to help each other, all in love and support and sisterhood.
Love that. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. And I teased the last time, I think I may want to join in some of that because it sounds like just a wonderful, eclectic mix of women who are powerful and strong and sharing their voices. And again, how do we galvanize it? Once we're heard, now we have to act. So that's the end of the show. You all, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you to my special guest today, Miss Giselle Shapiro, Black Women Speak. Not only the book, the anthology, but the movement. Love that. Please connect with her on all of her platforms. And thank all of you, our listening audience, literally around the world, who tune in weekly to hear Mogul Talk. We can't do this without you. Please share, like, and subscribe the show. Remember, we are live on jd3tv.com, streaming live. Go there for your subscriptions. And also remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel at MOGUL Talk, on MOGUL Talk. That's our YouTube channel, MOGUL Talk TV on YouTube. Make sure you connect with us there. As I always say, we always run out of time, never out of content. You all stay powerful, stay strong, and tune in for the next segment of MOGUL Talk. Bye-bye for now.
Bye.
Thank you for watching. Connect with us on our fan page.
Hey.
Thank
Ooh.